potential contenders here in the group, or if Weibo Gaming will start to find their stride in the split, get some of their first wins of the season under their belt, and start to stand up for this next spring split, get themselves into MSI form, and see if they can contend to be top 2 at the end of the split and get themselves to MSI. Now, first pick going the way of NIP. Hoya loses his Varus top in the first round of bans once again. That's one thing we're not going to be seeing, and they're going to take away the Rumble here, a popular pick across the board, especially favorited with Zika.
There's the Pantheon. It has been very globally enjoyed alongside the Rise. I think NIP can go something like... Okay, never mind. This might just be the Vi Ahri, a bit more team fight focused, pick focused. I was going to say could see the Anivia into the Rise and maybe the Nocturne, but that's banned. So it will just be this Vi Ahri. Options here for Weibo, just going to be this blind top. I mean, Gallia would be pretty good here in my opinion. Another global, but then you would really need a side to play to, and you still do need a side to play to. Karma's banned, Ashe Seraphine, Corki Nami. We saw Awesome and Zhuo play the Lucian Milio. Lucian Nami still an option as well. We've got the Yunara Lulu. A ton of powerful bot lanes for Weibo to play towards. For NIP though, I think they have a ton more options.
Yeah, it's interesting this early in the series to not have bot lanes go a little bit sooner. Karma, the only one who would be played down there that's currently banned away. And the Varus. I get it. Most people play Varus bot lane. That's a ban directed at Hoya, and I will not be convinced otherwise. Bard and the Lulu going to join the lists of enchanters that are going to be less available, and that might start to kind of push us outside of that enchanter meta a little bit. The Ashe Seraphine, definitely one that you still have to keep in mind, been a high priority across the board, and it's not really picked separately from one another, so if you can snap up the first one, that is always going to be valuable for you, and you got to believe that's probably what Weibo are angling for here. I doubt they ban it. It's probably going to have to come out of NIP.
Well, let's look at support still up. Bard Nautilus, Lulu taken. The Nami, Seraphine options to be taken away here in the bans to hamper the other. But if you do ban one, you lose the option of going the one that Weibo don't takes, because NIP will not get pick here. They ban the Ashe. So this is concerning because I think that Weibo can just go a Corki Nami. Maybe NIP are prepared with that Lucian Milio that they showed against IG. Looked really good. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. It makes their mid-game really, really strong. It's NIP's mid-game. Instead, Weibo are going to be the ones to take away this Lucian, perhaps. What support would Hung be playing in this? I'm not quite sure. Going to be the Nami so far. Just a little bit more time to talk about the AD carry choice.
And deciding that the Nami is perhaps the most valuable aspect here, you could play the Lucian Nami if you wanted to as well, and it does look like it is going to be that Lucian Milio counter pick for Assum and Zhuo like you talked about. That is going to open up. Surely this is Corki. Oh, could try to play around it and go for Israel. Not the most inherent synergies with the Nami if they do end up going for that, but can play a little further back. They're going to just decide, no, we want the Corki Nami even into the counter pick. This is a staple of the meta for a reason, and we want to make sure we're going to be the ones who have it on our side.
I mean, Weibo still doing some of their own research. Obviously, that they've done their prep. They know that this is coming. I think NIP, their draft is very mid-game focused. Not that these champions don't have good late game. You know, they've got a great pick comp here. The Rumble ult on top of the pick is awesome. The Lucian scales are much better than it has in past, especially with Emilio. But their mid-game around Dragons, picking off the first person that walks in is a really, really strong part of their draft. For Weibo, the good thing for that is they have the Pantheon Shield to deny some of the pick potential. But most of their draft is about finding side lane access, roaming down and getting a lead on this Corki Nami. You do have great scaling, Sion with the Rise as well. The Corki doesn't scale too badly. But I am concerned that if Weibo start losing the bot lane 2v2, which we've seen NIP in this matchup do really well, and then the Dragon stacking comes through for NIP because their pick mid-game is so strong that Weibo might be blown out of the water a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really interested in watching the bot lane 2v2 play out here. If either side is able to, build themselves up an advantage, going to be a huge boon to how these team comps are set to play out. A lot of strong mid-jungle dueling power from that Vi-Ahri combo, of course, but whoever's able to take that advantage, they're mainly going to be looking to use it to get over to the bottom lane. So very excited to see how this one plays out. Eyes on the junglers, eyes on the 2v2, see who's going to be able to put their respective marksmen in the lead.
Oh!
All right, well, I'm going to have to interrupt the Gyos a little bit here because Assum just lost a ton of HP as well as the summoner heal from Zhuo. Now, Jiejie is looking for a little bit of an invade, but he's going to get found by Hoya, loses half of his HP, and everybody's going to back away just a little bit weaker than they would have been otherwise.
This is some crazy prep from Weibo. So they send Zika down to the bot lane to chunk enemy bot, and then TP to the top side, gets the heal out so that Weibo have priority wave 1 in the bot lane, and then they send Pantheon to the Raptors to get a ward, which Rumble had pulled off top lane. Like, a lot of moving parts in this, first minute or two, and it results in Weibo having priority in bot and top because Hoya, instead of starting on the wave, was covering for that Jiejie invade.
Yeah, and now does find themselves with a little bit of a health advantage. Probably not going to affect the jungle clear too much, but something to have in mind with the summoner advantage in the bottom side. And immediately Elk and Hong going to look to capitalize. They hit level 2 first. They extend the trade. Assum's down below half HP, and this is after healing up to full after the level 1. Zhuo going to take some abuse here as well. No more defensive summoners available on either side.
Yeah, so the Lucian lanes, most of the time, do struggle in the first couple of levels because Lucian is quite kept by his level 3, especially his supports can be too. Braum, not so much, but Nami, very gate-kept by the first 2 levels. Milio, similarly. You love those, the shield plus the campfire, and then obviously having the soccer ball is really good too for the lane, but that means that NIP, while playing a little bit aggressive in the early game to try to fight back some of that pressure, did take a ton of HP negative to their health bars. And now Weibo have priority over pretty much all their lanes. I mean, the lane is bouncing back now in favor of Hoya, and Care managing to cancel the base. They will even the lanes up a little bit, but I am super concerned for this bot lane, Gordo. Like, already having to take a base here. The wave is pushing away from NIP. Not a great situation, not a great start.
Yeah, and they want that wave like that, right? They are choosing actively to recall, lose a couple of CS while the wave pushes in, and get themselves into a favorable position. When they return, gets the tier and a dagger for Elk's Corki, and they just say, we're going to keep on playing the lane exactly as it has been going with the already nearly 2-wave advantage they've built up for themselves.
I am interested to see where the jungle attention is going to be first, as I say that, Jiejie approaching the top lane, stacking up his passive so he can use the movement speed from his E. Let's see, does this work out?
Yeah, Jiejie making his way on up, looking for Hoya. Hoya able to get to the bush before he gets stunned. Able to flash to the next bush, and that's going to hose the gank.
I was really sure that Jiejie was going to stack his passive one more time and use E for that movement speed, but he doesn't do it. It still gets Hoya's flash out, though, as Guwon is down here. I guess the health bars are a bit too low for NIP, because I would love a situation here where maybe you can dive just to deny the farm, but you can see that Xiaohu was hovering down the bot side. He doesn't have ult, but because he's missing, I assume NIP say we can't go for the dive there, even to just deny some of the CS. So Weibo going to be able to pick up that farm. L building a pretty decent CS lead. If NIP were able to deny those like 2 or 3 waves there, that would have been really nice. But some jungle pathing around after these starts. It's really just this lead for Elk, which is where we want to see the emphasis on this game. Not only the players and how they play with their teams, but with these comps too, Gordo.
Yeah, definitely. I like the look from Guwon to maybe look for that dive, but like you said, just not feeling like the cards came together, and so Elk gets paid off for the gamble that they would be able to pick up that wave on the bounce back. That recall timing that they value so highly. Assum finds a nice little trade, though, inside the cozy campfire. Firing back into Elk, recovers a lot of HP, gets the warm hugs to block some of the damage, and Elk takes a lot more damage than he bargained for off that one.
We'll be able to push out this wave and maybe get a reset. The dragon has spawned, and no level 6 yet for junglers, so I assume that this will just be a push out of the bot lane, but Guwon is around. He isn't level 6 yet, but with Care rotating down too.
Jiejie looking for the counter gank, though. It does look like it might be a full-on 3-on-3, but instead Hung gonna flash away to get that extra bit of distance. Heals blown by both parties, and both junglers will return to their clears.
Okay, so Zhuo uses the heal for the movement speed. Hung responds and then also has to flash. Doesn't want to get caught by anything. I think that NIP were a little bit too quick to the punch there. They had Guwon and Care coming down. Maybe they could have used some prior to get the dragon. But it will be a dragon starter for NIP. Jiejie around. Spotted on the ward. Let's see. Can he get in? Obviously, Pantheon Q Smite is very, very scary here for NIP.
Yeah, they're falling over Xiaohu as well, coming through on the rise, going to Realm Warp to regroup with the rest of his team. It's a full 4-on-4 now. Weibo approaching from the bottom side. Flash over. There's that smite with the Q, but they're going to try to clap back. Guwon throws himself in with the cease and desist. Will be able to pick up the first blood off that one, but Guwon's going to drop down to Xiaohu. Hong falling lower and lower. Assum picks up the kill credit. Xiaohu trying to fight back. 1v3. Gets the spell flux through the team, but has to flash out at the end of the day. NIP take the kill lead 2-1. Weibo secure the dragon.
Yeah, Weibo with that Q Smite, very scary. They get the Drake, but Guwon sends it with a flash ult onto Elk in the backline. Pantheon ult won't get a ton. Nice attempt there from Jiejie, but Care with this ult, this is the team fighting potential of the Ahri up against the Ryze. I think that Ryze with Actualizer has a much better time team fighting than he used to, but the Ryze ult is used. Ahri has ult. So she can dash around, do extra damage, get the resets possible. So we see here the flash in from Jiejie, Q flash smite, really nice combo. But Guwon says, okay, that's all their damage. Let's go. On to Elk, insta kills AD carry, and then a ton of that team fighting damage isn't here. Guwon falls, sure, but Care is dashing around this fight, and he just does more.
Yeah, Xiaohu with a good bit of damage at the very back end there, but takes him too long to kill Guwon as well. He gets a lot done before his body hits the floor, and they get themselves a 1K gold lead off the back of it, and puts Assum right back in the game, right? 2 kills on the Lucian.
Yeah, and that gold lead that Elk had started to build up is completely flipped onto Assum now. And, I mean, Elk still has the CS advantage. It's not what it was. -1. Good job, Care. But when Assum finishes this Essence Reaver, I think Corki, the 2-item spike is very strong, but this Essence Reaver spike for Lucian is really nice. This is a nice timing from Zika. I don't think you can expect this.
For it. This is an interesting side of the map for Zika to be on, and he's going to find his way onto Guwon. That's going to be a kill going the way of Zika. He's going to just TP his way right on up there. No opportunity to interrupt. Zika getting involved on the map nice and early for a top laner.
And he's not even really losing a ton. I mean, this is Sion into Rumble. The Rumble doesn't have First Strike. I assume he does have cashback, but you're not getting that, like, printing money Rumble into Sion matchup. So the lane is going completely fine for Zika. Nice bubble from Hung. But Zika finds a really good timer again to roam down to the bot lane, influence the map, and then TP back. Guwon had no flash. How do you expect Zika being there?
Exactly. I mean, Zika understands the assignment, knows that this game is going to turn on the bottom lane, and wants to make sure that he's going to be able to have some impact. It's going to be a nice culling coming out of Assum there to try to push the opposition back. Elk and Hong both find themselves a little bit below half HP here, but that mana bar for Assum is running lower and lower.
What I will say is, for NIP, it is a really unfortunate situation that they lost that dragon. It's not comfortable because they want to use the dragon stacking as their advantage until the Rise gets damaged, until this Corki gets to 2 items. Guwon is around, but like you said, Assum, no mana. And Jiejie's here to cover. TP as well?
Coming in though. Hoya's looking to get involved. Elk gonna get healed up a little bit. Jiejie gonna get the fight started early as they see that TP coming in. Guwon loses
There's
about
no
half
wave.
HP. Now who's gonna tank the turret? Because there's no more minions left to be had. NIP forced to back away, but the next wave is arriving and they need to make this dive work now. Xiaohu arriving from the bottom side. Guwon gonna open up with the cease and desist. Here comes the tidal wave across the team. Guwon going to trade 1-for-1. Flash forward from Hoya, trying to burn down Hong. Hong staying alive for a little bit longer. Will eventually drop. Elk has to flash back underneath the turret. Xiaohu providing covering fire. But at the end of the day, NIP going to claim their 2-for-1. Xiaohu porting up to the dragon. Just wants to get his way back to mid.
Yeah, I kind of clenched my teeth there. I was like, where is he going? What is he doing? But it was just a mid. What a crazy fight. NIP say, yeah, we're completely flipping the game, because if that doesn't go well, the game is so hard to play now. You've lost a lot of that lead that you generated, but now Awesome does have that Essence Reaver built up. Zhuo has the Echoes of Helia. Really, really nice item for the Milio to get. It means that when Lucian does rotate to the mid lane, that should be soon, because you really want that Lucian in the mid lane to generate you mid-prio, to roam around the map with your jungler and your support together, that this 1 item / 2 item spike when it comes through is going to be really, really scary. I wish that we did get a replay there, because I think it was really played by NIP. It was it was very telegraphed that it was coming with the TP, but they still played it really well.
Yeah, a brief moment of indecision perhaps, but the next wave comes in and they say, you know what, we're here, we committed the resources, we're making this dive happen, and good aggression from Hoya to make sure to be able to close out that extra kill onto Hong and make sure that this is going to turn into a play that they can write home about. Does look like all 3 grubs going to go over here. That is going to be a secure for Guwon.
Well, grubs this game, grubs this year haven't been that crazy, but especially this game, I guess denying them from Sion is good, denying them from like a split pushing Rise is good, but not a ton of value in my opinion. I think this next Drake that's up is really important. Neither team really feel that confident to pull the trigger. I'm super shocked because everyone's got these important items coming online, especially Awesome. Elk doesn't have a first item because he has to go the tier, and Trinity Force is pretty expensive. And Elk is able to do this.
Wow. Elk just playing up and aggressive, taking a lot more than he bargained
Whoa!
for. From Assum, trying to take the 1v2, but a big one hits him in the face, and Elk will claim a kill right back. Meanwhile, Weibo jumping in on the mid lane. Guwon going to throw out the cease and desist, tries to lock down Xiaohu, but he's got too much health for that. Guwon forced to flash away, Care forced to spirit rush defensively, and Weibo winning on 2 fronts. Back in there's Care, but can't make it happen. No way.
Yeah. He's trying, but just be the rest of the ult charges used. I'm going to talk about the grubs first before I get into the Awesome play. I really don't like the grubs take from Guwon. I think his bot lane is on a really strong timer where they should be fighting, Malignant's Ahri with ult up super strong against just Roa completed Rise. And instead, Guwon chooses to go for the grubs, which Weibo happily give. Are we really not going to get a replay of Awesome going for the 2v1? I'm shocked, but it's a really confident attempt. Didn't mechanically work out perfectly. I think if Zhuo was there, he really close on the heal cooldown. If he was there for the whole thing, easily, Awesome would have been able to find that 2v2 kill. And this guy's confident. If you say anything about Awesome, he's confident.
He certainly is, but big loss for him to not be able to pick that one up. Now he finds himself back in a deficit in the bottom lane, and this is a tough competition to play short-range marksman into. That's true for both these teams. Definitely want to be able to maintain that lead wherever you can get it. Elk now on the Trinity Force. He is going to make sure that Hoya knows about it, pushing him back underneath the turret. Equalizer going to be used to clear the wave, recognizing the threat that he is under, and Hoya's got to bail.
I wouldn't even be surprised talking about... Oh, hang on. Might be seeing a dive in top lane. I see that Guwon is around, but wave has been cleared out, so...
Scion things, baby.
Awesome will just tank 2 turret shots because he feels like it, and then they'll walk away. But I wouldn't even be surprised to see Awesome go rapid fire cannon. Obviously, the main choice is the Navori, and that would make just as much sense. But I think that it's a good call. There is a very short range comp. Getting that extra range on the Lucian with the Milio as well would be really nice. You would heavily outrange the entire team and be able to proc that enhanced, energized auto. I think either choice is still good, but could be an option. I am becoming worried for NIP because they had a lead, then they lost it. Oh, nice pick.
Jumping right on top of Xiaohu here. He is going to have to flash back away. Will be able to stay alive. Here's Jiejie getting in on the action. Care underneath the turret. Rooted up. Trades one for one. Mid laner for mid laner. Jiejie looking for a little bit more onto Hoya. Cannot find it. Guwon stays alive as well. And it might just be the 1-for-1, or it might be more as Assum advances forward. Nearly solos out Hong. Elk arrives for a little bit of extra damage, but he's got a Valk over the wall as well. And Assum taking names and pushing back members of Weibo.
Like I said, this guy's confident. He wants to get in there. He's hungry for these kills. That's good to see from a Lucian player. You need to play that aggressive, but it's really unfortunate Care can't get the reset earlier. It ends up going 1-for-1 for that reason, because he can't get the reset, gets rooted under the tower. It'll still be fine. You know, this game is mostly right now being dictated by the fact that Weibo have 2 dragons. NIP in their series against IG, one of the reasons why, or one of the biggest reasons why they lost that first game despite having a massive gold lead, was because they were caught out before Elder, but it got to a position where they gave Infernal Soul and Elder was up. Another game here where their dragon priority, their positioning, their setups haven't been up to par as their opposition. And the gold lead, while mostly insignificant, you know, 200 gold here, 400 gold here, being pulled back a lot by Guwon, the dragons are impactful.
They definitely are. Having that 2-0 lead, giving Weibo a lot of breathing room, knowing that NIP are nowhere near a soul, and giving them the potential win con of a Mountain Soul themselves. NIP going to start off this Rift Herald a little bit more impactful than the Grubs. It does look like Weibo are interested in a contest. They've got their bot lane down to the bottom side here. TP coming in from Care does not look like it's going to be interrupted, and that means Hoya's far away.
Here comes the Scion ult as well. It's taken by the Pantheon.
Guwon getting on in there, finds the cease and desist, but the follow-up's not there. Zika going to be able to flash on forward, looking for the decimating smash. Can't quite find it, but getting good damage onto the carries regardless. Elk finishes off Zhuo, and he knows how low Care is. He wants to get over the wall. He's firing away with the rockets. Hoya drops to Xiaohu. Elk not able to get his man, but Assum and Care, they lost so much health at the beginning of that, they had to back away.
We saw a little bit late on the Ahri click. I saw 15, so it was probably close to 10. But again, we are flipping an objective in front of a Pantheon, guys. This is not good setup. It's a random Herald that you don't really need, and you let Jiejie walk in. Like, look at where they're positioned. NIP is so scared. They're all on the backside ready to leave, ulting Elk instead. This is a similar place to the first time, but this time, Elk doesn't die. He's completely fine, full health. Guwon has to use everything. And at this point in the game, Scion is unkillable. No one can touch him. There's a conversation about whether Scion will die this game at all, but I'm not ready for that conversation. NIP need to be ready to decide what they're going to do now, though, about this Scion, because he is not dying.
Great shield there as well from Jiejie, keeping himself alive with just a sliver of HP, absorbing damage from Hoya, and getting his team back on away. Now they're looking for their soul point. Zhuo going to be the first one to take damage here, and plenty of damage it is. Hong nailing some of that damage boosts onto Elk, who pushes them back. Care looking around on the flank, going to try to send it, but on vision the entire way through. It would be so difficult for him here. Rift Herald's been thrown down as well. They're going to try to use it for a little bit of combat, perhaps. Elk gets inside. Elk is looking for the knockups, but Elk is now out of the fight. Tidal Wave coming on through, and this has gotten chaotic out of nowhere. Hoya going to layer on down the Equalizer, trying to burn down Xiaohu. He's alive with a sliver. Finally, he'll drop. That gets a reset for Care. He gets a second kill onto Hong's Nami, trying to back away, forced out through the backside of the fight. Elk looking for him, cannot find him. Rift Herald crashed in mid. That's getting dealt with by Assum, and NIP, they scrape together a fight win where one does not belong. Care trying to make the long run out of here. He will be cut off, though, at some point by Hoya.
Yeah, this is a pretty sad end to the Ahri's reign. I loved the positioning of Weibo around this Drake. When they saw Ahri on the ward, when the sweeper didn't, when Care's sweeper didn't see that ward behind the dragon, Weibo didn't immediately react by showing off that they knew Care was there. Instead, Elk just slowly positioned himself towards the top end of the fight. You can see where he's standing. Instead, he ends up clicking the Herald by complete accident, I have to believe.
Gotta be an accident.
And this completely runs the fight down. Because Elk is so confused where to go. Weibo feel like they have to send it. And then NIP get a window here to send it themselves. Elk does end up coming back around and getting a nice knock-up. But there's no way NIP should have had an in there. But because of Elk's mistake, they do. And now we come back from live and we're in the same position we were. So none of it actually mattered because Weibo get the soul point anyway.
Assum's
NIP
dead.
lose mid-tower. Yeah, so we definitely missed another play on top of that. Because I feel like NIP were fine and now they're not.
Well, that's because they've been short of carry for the last minute straight. They lost Care at the end of the last fight, and before Care gets back, or perhaps as Care gets back, they lose Assum, and now they're still without Assum. They're completely without pressure in these mid and bot sides. So Weibo walk away with a bunch of gold.
So when you dance on the edge, like Assum has been doing, you aren't supposed to fall, but he did. And when that happens, in this comp, the entire team kind of falls with you, unfortunately. And that is what happened. Guwon is just sending it again.
Good stuff from Hong there, just stops Guwon in his tracks, can't get in there for this easy assist. Second triumphs the charm though, in goes Guwon, in goes the kill. And now Hong left without any backup. He's gonna fall down here as well. The rest of Weibo arrive, but this is a 3 versus 5 after how this fight has started out. Xiaohu going to try to fall back underneath the turret. Zika cannot stay alive, tanking up 5 members for very long, and will drop down as well. It's 3-0 to NIP.
Can we stop Baron here?
More here. Xiaohu trying his best to return fire. Has Assum and Care both firing away at him. Flash forward from Xiaohu, trying to pick off Assum, but he's going to pay for it as Guwon gets right back in there. Jiejie here for the backup, returns damage back onto the Vi, but Jiejie just takes too much, tries to flash away, but it's too late. Jiejie falls as well. It's 4 kills total to NIP.
Okay. So Assum fell off the cliff, but he had his climbing gear ready to go. He was harnessed in because he immediately climbs back up. Guwon's ready to go. They assassinate Elk instantly. Elk!
Elk's getting in there, flash forward, gets 1 kill onto Zhuo. Cannot find Assum, but will pick up 1 more kill worth of credit.
All right, so both 80 carries are completely out for blood this game. Guwon finds Elk. Assum and Care over the wall together. Elk steps too far forward here when he's already dodged the engage. Culling over the wall, Care over the wall. Baron's being started as we speak here. It looks like it might just be taken for free by Weibo, but NIP with a snap. Blow up Elk, take down the Nami as well. NIP, what do you have?
Well, let's see if
they can't flip against the Pantheon.
Get over here. Weibo probably don't want to commit to this. Zika getting hit by that knockback. Probably wishing he didn't, but does not end up punished for it. And now Weibo, a little bit softened up by the Baron, going to have to back away and give NIP their turn.
We are 11 kills each at 23 minutes in of our game 1 here, Gordo. I feel as though there are great things to come in this series, and I have a feeling that it's going to be a long one. Elk with the massive lead here for Weibo, and I mean, that's a champion that loves to have leads like this. I assume this is going to be a Serpent's Fang third item, so a little bit of a fake item, but still really good in this game, you know, against the Milio. Does a ton of work. The shielding as well around, you know, Vi, Rumble. There is other shielding, but mostly for this Milio. I think that NIP in that fight showed perfectly how their comp needs to work. They find Elk. There is not enough protection for this Corki 9 times out of 10, unless mechanically Weibo are playing it really well or NIP are flubbing their dive. So if it's played well, and they blow up Elk, the fight looks awesome. However, if that doesn't happen like we saw earlier, where Elk doesn't take any damage, he flashes away, then the fight looks really hard for NIP because the Scion is a big threat. The Rise is building closer towards that spot. Does have, I think for me, Rise is Roa finished, Seraph's finished, level 16 Actualizer. He's still, you know, 2 out of 4. So yeah, the Zhonya's is a little questioning for me because it's not like he's being altered at all by Guwon. So I don't particularly understand why Xiaohu feels like he needs to. 40 seconds on this Drake. Good positioning from Guwon. Get some good info that there's no wards in the bot side. He can stay here for a long time. He can stay here nearly the entire time until the Drake comes up, and Weibo will hunt for him. They're pinging that they know he's not in front of them. He must be behind them. You can see the missing pings. They actually spot him out with the ward. Really good game sense from Weibo.
Yeah, really smart. And I mean, Guwon now retreating, going for the recall, going to come over here and try to contest, but Weibo have full control over this bottom river, and they're on Soul Point. This is going to be Mountain Soul for them if NIP can't get in here and stop them from taking the dragon.
The good news is that NIP have a ton of sustain with the shielding, with the healing from Milio. Good vision there, will stop, but who face checks? This is really hard to walk in.
Control Ward's going to try to save them the face-checking burden, but Zika's still standing up in here, still threatening to go after whoever steps on up. There's the culling opened up, absorbed a little bit by Jiejie, and that's the only part that Kez get hit. Now they're going to fall back over to the dragon, but River has been entered. Mission number 1 accomplished for NIP. Guwon's now in the pit. That's mission number 2. Mission number 3, find a way to secure the dragon or find a way to win the fight. Maybe both. Going on forward onto Zika, into cease and desist. On the back line, Elk getting focused with a bubble. Going to buy Elk the time he needs to make the trade. Zika drops down on the front line. Xiaohu looking for a target. It's going to be awesome. He's going to have to dash back away, and Hoya going to be beaten down by the zombie. Care dives forward looking for Elk, cannot find him, gonna have to settle for a support, but the fight is over in favor of Weibo, and Dragon Soul soon to follow.
Dragon Soul, maybe Baron as well. They have a ton of damage with the Corki and the Rise. Again, you can see NIP's game plan. They are all-inning Elk or the game is over, and this time again it doesn't work. Guwon ult, Hoya ult, Care flashes forward with the charm, and there's just not enough damage to get it done. They know we cannot flip in front of a Pantheon with his upgraded Q. So here's the Rumble ult, here's the Vial, but Elk buffers his dash through it. Care's charm with the combo doesn't do enough. Elk lives. Zika buys enough time, and then he goes into zombie form and does a ton of damage in that as well, and no one from Weibo has died here.
None at all. Care tries to get in here at the back end, lands another charm, but once again, it's not enough. Elk gets charmed twice in this fight and doesn't die.
Yeah, good charms from Care, but just not enough damage, not enough follow-up from Elk. We're back!
And we're getting right back into the action. Zhuo gonna be the one who falls, and that's
Where'd they
going
go?
to be Guwon as well. Quick 2-0 for Weibo to go with their Mountain Soul, and you know what's gonna look nice alongside that Soul? It's gonna be this Baron.
Yeah, I was talking about in draft, Gordo, that the Pantheon has been getting counted in the LPL by the Nocturne. Well, NIP banned the Nocturne. They didn't want to first pick it. Instead, they took the Rumble. And the Pantheon has kind of been everywhere this game, providing so much space. Elk, in this 2v2 so far, has come out on top. And this is with NIP's counter pick that they played against IG. Hung has done a really good job on the Nami as well, providing peel. But Weibo have played this comp really, really well. I think that it's a tough comp to play against this style from NIP. If Elk isn't perfect on his movement, on his buffers, on his summoner spells, if Hung isn't perfect with his peel, Elk just gets one shot, and we've seen what happens when he does.
Xiaohu been playing so up and confident this game as well. Oh, Guwon! Speaking of confidence, Elk is just gonna one-shot him underneath his inner turret right in front of the rest of NIP. And now they're down their main engage tool, they're down their primary frontliner, they're losing inner turrets, and Weibo are knocking on the base doors.
Yep, Sion's in mid to continue this kind of 4-1 style. Jiejie hovering in the middle there, waiting for an opportunity for a stun, waiting for an opportunity to deny flanks even. Weibo have a really easy time here. They just stand there. NIP have no way of clearing Gordo. You were talking about the range before. Well, how do you clear the minions when you're so outranged by the minions? It's not a champ range diff, it's a minion range diff.
Yeah, that is definitely going to be difficult to deal with, especially without that Vi, providing a little bit of interference, providing a little bit of threat. Now finally re-arriving to the scene is Guwon, looking for the flank here. Already lost one inhibitor, an inhibitor turret, now threatening to lose a second one, going for the deep flank behind enemy lines, and NIP might just send the full game here. See if they can get it. Back onto Elk. He's up in front. Culling opens up onto him. Stays alive for a second. Will drop down. But now Zika's on top of the rest of them. Can they find the fight? Absolutely not. Zika falls. Xiaohu not able to get in there with the damage. NIP take a quick 2-0 and keep this game going.
It is actually ridiculous how much Weibo's comp relies on Elk staying alive. And when he isn't alive, it's done. And, okay, well, Color Caster, ADC's dead, the fight's lost, wow. But, like, Xiaohu is massively strong with a big lead. He has those strong items that I was talking about before. Level 16, Jiejie at the front line, this mega tank Scion, and the second Elk dies, the fight is completely lost. They can't get through NIP after that. They're too scary. I love how creative Guwon is getting. Some might say 1 in 7, but these are the some that isn't me, Gordo. You know, we were talking about earlier. Some would say Guwon is not having the best game. He's being creative. When it works, it works.
Hey, 2.0 KDA, all right? Could be worse. He's getting his jobs done. He's finding the flanks. You don't want this guy picking up the kills. You want Assum and Care to be on the receiving end. And so far, they are the two with the most kills on the team. Still, though, that play, as good as it was, just stalls the game. It does not put NIP back in control. Does get you through the Baron, though, and will give you another opportunity for a team fight. Still, the damage on this turret is just a little bit too much. Elk is pushing up back, and Elk is looking for more. Valkyrie forward, finding the poke damage with the rockets, and Jiejie hiding out in the jungle, looking for the engage.
Oh, Assum's dead!
Get out of the back line. Assum's been killed! Elk finds him thanks to Zika's engage, and Jiejie gonna take out Guwon on the opposite side. 4-man Realm Warp right on top of Care's head, forces flashes out of him and Hoya, and this base, it's chaotic, but it's Weibo in control.
That was really well played by Weibo. The Nami ult from one side, the Scion ult from the other, completely squeezed Autumn into a position where he just has to die. Weibo approaching the base, a hard-fought game, but they want to win.
Yeah, Jiejie taking both turrets at once might fall on down here, but it's going to take both of NIP's lives with them. A double kill to Jiejie, and game number 1 goes the way of Weibo. After some back-and-forth shenanigans, they reign supreme.
Some really high execution fights there from Weibo, Gordo. That end one was really well played. A lot of the protection around Elk was really well played from Weibo. I think NIP had some awesome fights too, pun intended. With, you know, killing Elk, the dives, Guwon finding these creative angles. But that last fight from Weibo was really, really nice. The tidal wave approaching from this way, the Scion ult approaching from this way, and Awesome completely trapped in the middle. I think it's a tough call for MVP, I will say, because I think Elk had a great game, but I think Jiejie piloted a lot of that mid-game.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for Xiaohu as well. Did a lot to pull space, did a lot to cover those early dives, right? He was always there to make sure that this Lucian Melio couldn't get right back into the game off of a powerful dive on towards his bot lane. They kind of ended up back in the game anyway, but he was certainly in good positions to be able to respond. And in those fights where Elk did go down, or where Elk was the primary focus to the point that he couldn't output damage, it was Xiaohu picking up the slack. It was Xiaohu holding down Care so that he couldn't finish off the kill, couldn't spirit rush in onto Elk. He did a really great job there as well. I think the main takeaway you've come away with that game number 1, though, is all the autonomy, all the power of self-determination sat with Weibo the whole way through. They took an early lead, and they threw that lead, and they took that lead back, and they threw that lead again a little bit, but it was always their decision-making determining whether they were ahead or behind. NIP, kind of just victims to whatever way the winds of Weibo blow.
How are we feeling? If this is even, this is so back, and this is so Jova. And I reckon we were like here before. We back here? We a little bit, you know, where are we sitting? What do you think? I'm thinking
we had a little bit of a wave going there for some of the game, but I think we end up probably about where we started. I think Weibo, we talked about some inconsistency there, and I think that's what we saw in game number 1. Yeah.
There was definitely some inconsistency. I will say I like NIP's kind of mentality. You know, they know they have to send it. That's the game plan. That's the comp. We have to go. And they did. They don't just sit there, wait, try for one fight at the end, lose the game. They get, you know, outscaled by the Rise of the Corki later on. Their team comp, you know, it looks for picks. They dove. They did really well. I like that they got creative with it. I like to see creative gameplay, pathing, team fights. It looked really, really good. But for NIP, I think you've got to look at your draft here and say, we had a really solid idea. The idea was really great, but I'm not sure if I agree with the tier list. You know, pro players will talk all the time, or pro teams talk about their tier list of drafting. Where is their, you know, ideology? This definitely was not the draft.
Not the game that we just saw.
But their idea of, okay, we're going to go Vi, Ari, and Rumble, and that's the game plan, but I don't know how much that empowers your bot lane, and I don't know how much that answers the Pantheon that is 100% coming after.
Yeah, definitely. And the engages were pretty good onto Elk, but they often found that they couldn't really finish them off, and that definitely made things pretty difficult for the later game fights from NIP. You were hoping that Lucian could be in a little bit of a stronger place, right? If he's the one that's further ahead, then that, you know, 32.4k damage ends up being a higher number, ends up where he's able to really threaten folks like Jiejie and Xiaohu, and then the fights play out differently, but it was not the case. They really played for Elk there. They got him into a very powerful state. The fights swung on him, and the coverage on him from Hung and Xiaohu was very good.
Again, some would say 1 and 8 is not the best scoreline for your jungler, but 13 assists on a Vi is good. And if Vi was taking all the kills, we wouldn't be happy. The dives only worked because Guwon was going in and sacrificing himself, and he was making his KDA look worse for the team. I respect that. This dive was crazy. I was so shocked that this was actually happening. I was very worried that NIP were going to get caught under the tower with no minions, that it was going to end the game completely here, but some good fight back. I think notes for NIP, like, early objective priority, not it, in my opinion. The grubs, not that important. The Herald, not that important. You lost it anyway. You can't flip in Pantheon's face. You didn't stack any dragons, which I think is really important with the Lucian Milio. And I think that answering something like this Pantheon, that is now gone, so fair enough, is an importance for future series. For Weibo, don't click Herald if your name is Elk. Don't do that. Be careful. But I think, yeah, some of these skirmishes, when you're not as strong as the enemy team is, you have to be very careful about taking them, because there were a few times that game got where they were caught out. Specifically this one, Elk is away, and then he walks back up for no reason and decides to lose the fight.
This is what I mean when I say Weibo are the only ones with autonomy. Weibo have the power to turn these fights on a whim, right? It's, if they play it normal, they can win. If Elk turns back around and checks out the Vi, who he knows hasn't ulted and whose ult he just avoided by creating that space in the first place, he might die. If he randomly jumps in the Rift Herald and exits the fight entirely, NIP have a window that they can abuse there, and, you know, to their credit, they will abuse it.
Actually, that Mikhail's from Hung in this fight was ridiculously good. Nice bubble as well under care. Really well played fight from Hung. Yeah, okay, MVP. Can you ever actually get an MVP on Nami?
No.
I don't think so. Elk did really well, but he did, like, he died then, which is not his fault as much, but the one before definitely was his fault. Maybe it is Jiejie. Maybe Jiejie MVP. I'm with that.
I think that feels like a decent shout. I think it'd be Jiejie or Xiaohu. I agree. I think Elk's mistakes are what kept NIP in this game. So I don't think it should be him. And I agree, I don't think that they would never give it to a Nami. They would never. Not unless there was some kind of sick 5-man bubble or something that won the game. And that didn't happen this game. So I'm going to be flabbergasted if they give this one to Hong.
You got me thinking, Gordo, like, what's the most kills a supporter's ever gotten in pro play? I know there's I'll look it up in the break maybe, but
gotta be like a Pike game, right? Gotta be some
okay, that's true. What about an Enchanter? Like, has an Enchanter ever gotten like a quadra kill before? That would be crazy.
Does Senna count?
Oh, true. That's a good question. I mean, the semantics, very
I
important
bet
semantics in
like
this
Bard
discussion.
has too. And there we go. Jiejie. You get a
really oddly satisfying player of the game here. 2-2% on the DT here, and then 2-2-2-9 on gold if at the end. That's nice.
3 2s in a row.
That's pretty nice.
It's pretty
Well,
good.
I mean, technically, if you count them, it's 5 2s in a row. Because the 22 is next to the goal at end.
Is that not what I said?
I thought you said 3. Maybe I can't hear.
Yeah. It's possible that I did. I can't be trusted. But to remember what I said about 10 seconds ago, there's a lot of words in a game of League of Legends. But very, very nice there. And hey, all the votes for Jiejie and Xiaohu. We certainly
good call.
We got a little bit of something right there. But really well played game number 1 from Jiejie. I think still looking on form, still playing up to the level that we expect from him here. And yeah, I mean, Vi Ahri, maybe not the tech that it once was in our current era of Pantheon dominance, and that Nocturne's still going to be up and available, and perhaps mandating a ban going forward.
Yeah, it would be good to see teams, adapt to this again. But Fearless. I saw someone in chat right before Fearless was the best thing added to the game. I agree, chatter. We don't get to see any of those again. Full new bands, full new picks. Well, actually, maybe not new bands. Maybe the same bands. New picks. That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm fully Fearless pilled. I'm right on board with you. If you want to see more Fearless and more LPL in English, consider becoming a Coffee member. Coffee is the best way to support the LPL English project since the vast majority of your contributions go directly to the show. Some of it goes into upgrading the broadcast, but most of it goes towards paying on-air talent and content creators. Subscribe to the Coffee and chance to unlock perks like early access to content and the ability to ask interview questions for our unique on-site interviews once those internationals start rolling around. So check it on out. If you're not already contributing, see if it's for you. If you are already contributing, thank you very much, and we will see everybody after a short break for game number 2.